Hi, my name is David Sylvester, and this is my wife.
My name is Minerva Sylvester.
So I can remember a moment in my early childhood, probably 4 or 5 years old, and my mom being in tears and asking me if I wanted to ask Jesus into my heart. And like I said, probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe 6. I just barely remember it, reciting, a sinner's prayer with my mom. And from that point, I grew up in the church, and then there were times going as I grew and moved to Madeira, different church. My dad was a pastor of a smaller church that didn't have a youth group. So by the time I was about 12, I had actually found Valley West Christian Center through my brother and some of his friends had started coming here, with Lance being the youth pastor. It was just kids and fun and all kinds of stuff going on. And so I found my way to the Valley West Youth Group. It was called Crossfire Youth Group at that time. Just wanted to be involved in every aspect of it. And at that time, it was just an opportunity to see that being a Christian was fun, I think. And through the years, all through my elementary years, going to youth camps, summer camps, church camps of all kinds. It was just always present in my life. I always knew it was there. I can remember there was a time, I think it was one of our trips to YFN, Youth for the Nations, summer camp in Dallas, that Lance took us to, where I think I had my first real impactful encounter. And ever since then, it's just kind of marked my life as knowing that God was real. I think as a young child, it was something I knew in my mind, but didn't ever really connect it until probably that event where I knew it was real in my heart. So tying my mind to my heart. I know some people go through a different experience where they feel it in their heart first and, get their mind saved later. But it was, growing up in the church, you're just around it so much that it's just there and it's present, and it's the truth because it's the only thing you know. And then that specific youth camp was, I knew it in my heart.
I think I came to Lord because of friendships that were made that started in junior high. I met Candy and Charles. And then as we became friends through high school, Reuben was a great friend of mine. And he just was there. He was a helper and he loved the Lord. And Charles, there was just something different about them. And so going through high school, not knowing the Lord, but having these friendships in my life, and you can see something was different about them. And they would go to prayer times and just all kinds of things. I think it just starts to create just this questioning in your mind. And I know for me it did, where I thought, there has to be something more to life. Like, I have a great family, is a straight A student and athlete. So everything seemed right, but there was still this emptiness. And these friends they were different. And so spending more time with them, getting to know them, and them reaching out. I think it was actually for a video challenge. They had to go and invite someone to church. Well, I can't think of the name for that. A scavenger hunt. Yes, they came knocking on my door for a scavenger hunt. And they were supposed to ask a friend to church. And so I said, yeah, sure, I'll go. And there ended up being a miscommunication. And so I didn't end up going with that friend. But my mom said, well, let's just go anyway. And so I came through those doors, and I don't remember anything that Pastor Roger said, but I know that he was up here speaking. But I remember just crying. I think for the first time, the presence was just so real and so good. And I just wept. And I came forward that day. So it was November 8th, 1998. That just changed me forever. And I probably cried for the first 3 months every time I came to church. Just feeling that goodness, and it washed away after a whole year. I came to Nightlight and I realized a year ago today, I was contemplating my life, like whether or not it was worth it and whether or not I wanted to go on. And in that year's time, he had washed all of those doubts away, and I had joy, just so much joy, that it was amazing to think, what a year could do in the Lord. And I've never looked back.
Was that your senior year?
Yes, it was my senior year.
Well, we had mutual friends. So through her senior year, I was a youth helper at that time. We were just friends and acquaintances, hanging out together. Me and my friends, and she started hanging out with us. And so we were just friends for a number of years. Just,
We did go to prom together.
Oh, I did. She did ask me to her prom, which was, I don't know. Looking back, it's funny because I was out of high school. And I was like, sure, yeah, whatever. Whatever. I don't care.
I needed a date. Charles had a friend.
Yeah. So I was a friend of a friend that took her to her prom. A couple years out of high school, after she was out of high school, we were just helping in youth and doing, like you said, doing mission trips, and just had a friendship going. And, she, one year she cut her hair and she got her braces out, and I was like, oh, all right.
Tim likes to take credit, he says.
Yeah, and there was a number of our friends that said, "Hey, why not? David, she's a good woman. She's a good catch." Like, yeah, I guess she is. And so we just kind of, I don't know,
started dating.
just started dating. Just said sure.
We served together a lot. I mean, I was here all the time. He was here. We worked at the after school program together. And, we just live life in the day to day. And, someday someone said, hey.
In our early marriage, we were both, I wasn't finding a career path that was opening up for me. And so we were both working, but just not making a lot of money. So early on, the first couple of years of marriage was times where finances were a little bit tight and tough. And we were students, yeah. So we married while we were still going to school. So finances were tough, and we were just figuring life out. And one of obviously the challenge of finances, I can remember as a good testimony, there was a time where we felt challenged to give financially kind of an extravagant gift beyond what we were, what was responsible to do. And you want to finish that story?
So we prayed about it, and we decided, yes, we need to give this gift. And so I guess we wrote the check before anything electronic could happen. you wrote a check, and I don't even know, it must have been within a week, I went to pay some credit card bills, and just bills, and our credit card had a zero balance. And I called the credit card company because I had this piece of paper that it was, I think, close to $800 at that time that we had on the credit card. And I said, hey, I owe you this much money. I have the paper. And they said, no, you don't. You don't owe us anything. You've got a zero balance. I said, oh, are you sure? They said, yeah, it says zero, so you're good. And so we had some debts removed. Canceled.
Supernatural cancellation of debts.
Yeah.
So that's a good testimony.
It is. So, I think that helped increase our faith and our generosity, knowing that I don't give expecting that. I don't think it's going to happen every time, but I don't need to be afraid to be obedient and give when the Lord says give, that he's going to take care of all the other things that you need. And so that's pretty awesome. And we've tried to continue being generous and trusting in the Lord. When he says to give, then we release. I think for me, the challenge is helping my children see, to go beyond the head knowledge and to make them get the heart knowledge. That to me is the biggest goal. And I think in this year it was hard. It's like, I love Jesus, really I do, but right now. So, showing them the peace in the storm, the calm, and, rejoicing in the Lord and being thankful, and just letting them see that there is struggle, but there is always, always victory. And that's part of his promise. And so just walking that out daily when you've, listened to the same song however many times, or don't really feel like making dinner for the 100th time, just those things, just continuing to be faithful in the little things and showing them.
I feel like I'm being challenged not to be just a lackadaisical Christian, not just get in that mode where you're just, showing up Sunday mornings, whatever midweek program's going on. Because I think it's easy just to get in that mode where you're going to work and you're coming home and you're going to church on Sunday and just kind of take a back seat to it and just let the world, kind of scoot along and jump in your kayak or whatever and just flow with what the world's going on. Even yesterday I was listening to a song and a line popped out into it, and I don't even know the context of the song. It was a Christian song, I think. But the line was, the singer, he said, murderers and thieves was one of the lines. And it caught me off guard because I was like, I'm not sure what that means. But then I thought about it for a second, and in the context of it all, we're all, as sinners, we're as bad as murderers and thieves, right? And it's easy, as somebody that's grown up in the church, it's easy to think, oh, well, I didn't go off on a binge, or I didn't become an alcoholic or a drug addict, or go become a man of the world and just have a wild streak. I managed to avoid that. But it creates kind of a religious mentality in me that thinks, well, maybe I'm a better Christian, but my innocent, well, not innocent, but my victimless sins that you struggle with, they're just as bad as being a murderer or a thief. And I think that's been my battle, even since in the last 10 years, I've eventually got a good job and moved on to another company where I've been having success, where it's easy to let that pride of life slip in and just be comfortable and feel successful, and you're paying bills, you're not struggling anymore, and life feels good. But it's also easy to not become as dependent upon Jesus, become dependent on God in your daily life and your daily walk. And so that's been my challenge, I think, is just to stay focused and stay reliant upon Jesus and his faithfulness.
I think probably the most challenging thing is with my brother who was sick, and it'll be 6 years this year that we lost him to cancer. That stretches your faith, but it also grows your faith. Because we lost him, but I would say I have a deeper faith and conviction to pray for those who need healing than ever before, because God is. And so even through a loss, I know that God is faithful and he is true to his word. And if he says that he is healer, then I'm going to pray for healing, and I will trust and leave to him what he is going to do. And so that's what I have faith for, is seeing that happen more in the church. I don't know how that's going to happen or what it's going to look like, but I have faith for more of that in our lifetime. And, to sow the seed for our children so that they begin to have faith and see those things happen too.